I received my final appeals notice yesterday and I was rejected. I was denied. It did not go in my favor. And I initially recorded a very strong reactive video to this news as I'm saying this and I realized that it just wasn't helpful. It was me getting out my feelings, which is important. But whenever I come to my platform, I want this to be a learning space, both for myself and you all. And so I'm just, re-recording it. The basis of my appeal was that any decisions made about me in terms of my academic status, how fast I needed to retake step 1, my ability to re-enroll into the curriculum, et cetera, the type of leave that I was even placed upon, so administrative versus personal or disability/medical, I pretty much said, y'all did not take into account my status as a student with a disability, and I was not given the adequate support and or resources that are legally my right to have. And I didn't make this up. I consulted with legal counsel. They told me that made sense. I also even consulted with different departments internally at my institution that told me that my argument made sense. And so I went ahead and I submitted that. I was rejected in the first round. So it's like different levels of review. So I was rejected in the first round, and then it was passed on to a different department. And then that department had been in deliberation for a few weeks, and they just got back to me yesterday. The rationale for the denial was I was told about the accommodations in the services available to me in my M1 orientation in 2022.
This is a load of barnacles.
And that it was reiterated to me in 2023 at a class meeting that I may or may not have been present for. The reason why I'm laughing and rolling my eyes is because that just doesn't make sense when I wasn't diagnosed until 2024. I didn't have anything on official documentation in record until 2024, including my comorbidity. So what does 2022 and 2023 have to do with anything if I didn't know that these are resources that I needed back then? I also don't believe that excuses the lack of response and general sense of urgency to my numerous requests for aid and support from 2024 to 2025, right? And I'm not even gonna try to point out to anyone why that wasn't okay, why the response is some BS, If you feel otherwise, that's on you, bro. I know the truth. I know that that's not right. And even from a legal standpoint, y'all, prior to me going to medical school, I was a compliance officer. I literally worked in the departments that review stuff like this. So I know it's not right. However, y'all, I don't got the money to be proving that. I do not have the money to be getting no lawyer and suing no dang multi-million institution. I ain't even got, no. I also have just been going through this for so long, y'all. I was in my LOA since July of 2024. I'm not trying to fight and argue no more. That isn't to say, however, that I'm just going to be blindly obedient and compliant moving forward. Nah, I never want to give anyone, no institution, not an employer, not a man, not anybody, the idea that you can just treat me any kind of way and get away with it. Absolutely not. I just think that my plan of attack has to be different. I do still plan to be a fierce advocate for myself, right? Anytime that somebody tries to say something crazy about me or, do something unjust to me, I'm definitely finna hear my mouth. But when it comes to making these issues known, when it comes to making a way forward that is better for the people behind me, I just think that I have to lead more from an understanding that nothing could change. I have to be willing to accept that I can go through all of the right channels, do all of the right things, say all of the right things, and things still not go my way because it's so deeply ingrained into the institution of medicine at large. You know what I mean? We have normalized the batterment of medical students, of residents, of doctors. We have accepted this unjust hierarchy for hundreds of years. Okay? I am dealing with people who have normalized this and who think it is okay. On top of that, I'm also speaking to people who exist in a place of privilege that is not as accessible to people who look like me. Let's call the spade a spade. People love to talk about the statistics, about the low scoring students getting into medicine and the people who can't pass step 1. And it's y'all have means and access and privileges that you did not acquire by your own merit. You were born into them, lucky you, that make certain processes much easier. For example, when I was going through my whole appeals process and I wanted to seek legal aid, I don't know any lawyers. Oh, but you can best believe that my medical peers surely do, right? It took one single text to a friend who's not even at my campus to be like, oh, boom, here's a list of lawyers. Here are all the ones that I've used. Here are my friends, all right? Personal recommendations of lawyers, right? That is a level of access that I was not born with. And so it's a very reality that as a student of color, particularly a Black woman, right? A Black woman from an underserved area, I am just not going to have the means to fight back because I will be punching upwards, and that there's only but so much that I can do as an individual. And so the only thing that I can really say and look forward to is like being a big dog. I tell y'all to like my videos, share my videos, comment, engage, ask me questions about my skincare, and I get up on here and I do my makeup. I'm doing that for a reason. I need Dr. Miami level money and Dr. Miami level following, because that man do what he wants on the internet. Dr. Miami gets up there and makes skits that should get him canceled. And who gonna check him though? He's Dr. Miami. And I feel like that's the level, that's the aura I need. I need to aura farm to that extent, because I want to get to a point where, what you finna say to me? What you finna do? Not a thing, right? I want to be able to get to a point where we can fight toe to toe, and I can stand eye to eye in certain circumstances, and that power imbalance is no longer imbalanced. And obviously, it's gonna take a minute to get there. Might be sooner than later. I might be a millionaire by next week, but I understand that until it gets to that point, that there is a very limited capacity in which I can operate. All this relates to y'all. I just don't want anybody who follows me, who knows me, who has means to access me in some way to ever think that it's okay to just roll over and die. I get it. It's exhausting, constantly fighting and advocating and speaking out and being in a space where you know that you're right and people are trying to tell you that you're wrong. It's maddening. I get that. That burnout is real. I just think it is a dangerous, dangerous place to be when you no longer have the energy to even like stand up for yourself. And nah, don't do that to yourself, because I don't think that you can ever recover from it. I shared on my platform in another upload how I spoke to a residency director, and he was very vulnerable in letting me know that he feels like he sacrificed parts of his culture, parts of his Blackness as a Black man. And I don't ever want it to get there. I don't ever want it to get there where y'all feel like y'all have to give and sacrifice and feed segments of your soul just to become a doctor. Luckily, again, I have not reached that point personally, but if I ever were to get that close, y'all, I would quit. I'm not even trying to be funny, but like if it got to a point where I just felt like I'm just getting beat up every time that I'm entering into the workplace, that I'm scared every time I enter into the workplace because some person of power can use that power, abuse that power, and just like make my life miserable, I don't need to be here. I just think that when it's all said and done, justice will be served. It may not be from me directly, or it may be. It just might be a couple years later, right? That there will be something on the back end of all of this that will work in my favor and for the people below me, because I never gave up on my self-advocacy and that fighting spirit. Now, just to be honest with y'all, I also would like space to have reprieve, right? I don't always want to have to come up here on my soapbox. I know that my next upload, I said I was going to do academic accommodations and how to apply to them. So that's another serious video. But y'all, when I do my day in the life with ADHD, little vloggy vlog, I'm going to have me a little kiki. I'm going to have me a little haha. I don't always want to give y'all the Malcolm X, Martin Luther King speeches about the rights and the wrongs of big medicine, especially when I feel like it's so dang obvious that more and more people should be talking about it to where it's not that deep. You know what I mean? Like, these conversations shouldn't be taking so much out of me because I know that people barely want to acknowledge them. And I feel like I have to talk from my soul because this is the reality and the harsh truth that nobody wants to confront. But it starts burning me out a little bit. And again, I wanted to acknowledge that is a way to burn out for other people to go this route. Thankfully, it doesn't take much for me to get a little replenishment. So I'm actually about to slap on a wig. I'm about to slap on a wig and go get me a seafood boil with my friends and them. And I will see y'all next week. I'll see y'all next week, and we'll do the accommodations video, and then you'll see what life is really like with ADHD, because I definitely do think that people normalize the condition way too often. Y'all be thinking it's funny forgetfulness. Nah, like the hallmark to get diagnosed with any condition really is life impairment. in some way, social impairment in some way. So having crippling distractibility, not being able to get stuff done because your brain literally can't settle down, that's not fun, bro. And you start feeling, bro. Anyways, I'll talk about that more in the vlog because I think it'll be nice to just take y'all around with me and you'll see how's the adults. I have an interview next week, so that'll be in the vlog. I'm definitely looking forward to just continuing to live my life. That's really how I want to end off the video. I don't want y'all to pity me. I don't want y'all to be like, dang. I want y'all to be like, you know what? Go girl, go. That all of this stuff happened to you, especially if you've been following my channel for a long time, or at least up until the point that I was in my LOA. Y'all will see all of the things that I've went through, and your girl is still here. I'm still here. I'm still excited about the person that I am becoming. I can't wait to, again, be Dr. Miami level Aura Farming big, to do all of the big things that I want to do. I might be able to hire y'all some lawyers, pay y'all's rent. I don't know, give crazy levels of scholarships. There's so much that I'm looking forward to having the opportunity to do. But the only way that that happens is not giving up on myself. And I'm not there. I'm not there. I promise I would let y'all know if I was. So yeah, see y'all next week.